Hey everyone, welcome to our Wednesday night. Uh, Dina and I have been brainstorming and talking about all the ways that we can collaborate with all the things that we've learned over the years with using holistic tools and essential oils, and particularly tonight, all about digestion and how that affects everything, including your brain. So Dena Woulfe is a highly intelligent human, and I'm so proud to be able to work with her. She's a functional medicine nurse, retired nurse, and now she's a health detective. So, and I myself, I started out with lots of health issues, and my mom took my sisters and I to a colon hydrotherapy clinic when I was like, I don't know, 17. And so from there, I kind of just started learning all about what I was eating, and the things that weren't coming out of my body that needed those colonics to get the poop out. But get the train moving. Get that train moving. That's one of my favorite topics. If you know anything about me, I love anything to do with the digestive tract and all the jokes that are accompanied with it. So this is I'm just brimming with jokes that are going to go with this. So I'm real excited. Thank you so much, everyone who showed up for yourself tonight. And let's see. So we got our whole presentation here. So I'll hand it over to Dina.
Okay. I don't know. Oh, there we go. Okay. So I was like, I don't know how to get it to move. All right. So one of the things that, or some of the objectives that we have for tonight is really to help you understand the gut-brain axis, and then understanding how absorption plays a key role for you in your emotional health and your digestive health. And then also some essential tools for emotional freedom. And then we want to help you kind of like re-anchor to help calm your nervous system. We want to, instead of taking us from a stress state, we want to put you into like a rest and digest state. And then also, we hope that you leave here with the understanding how much the vital role of nutrition plays in your gut-brain axis. So that is what we will be going over tonight. So welcome. So if you have not already, you can scan this little barcode and you will download a sheet that is going to follow along with all of the amazing tools that we're going to teach you tonight. Okay. So I'll leave that on there. And then Kim, if you want to go ahead and scan and then share that in the chat, that'd be great.
I'm on it.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Appreciate you. You look at what you did. You did all this technical stuff, and we look all amazing.
It looks pretty and it's techy. All right. So let's talk a little bit about this gut-brain axis. So your digestive health is directly tied to your emotional and brain function. Okay. So when we hear about this gut-brain axis, you have like a whole microbiome that lives within your colon, your large and small intestines. It starts from the hole that we feed and it goes all the way to the hole that exits. Okay. You have an entire ecosystem that flows. You have microbes in every single component of that affect the motility, your secretions, your nutrient delivery, how much nutrients you get, the microbial balance between all of that. And all of these things are going to influence your neurotransmitters. So in studies that we've read, about 95% of your neurotransmitters are coming from the gut. Now, we originally, several years ago, thought that neurotransmitters originated in the brain, but that's not the case. We get them from the gut. And so stress and anxiety are going to play a huge role on this gut-brain axis, as well as our mood and our behaviors. And so we're going to talk kind of a little this microbiota and also some of the emotions that we feel and how that plays a key role. And now this next slide, I want you to think about what happens when our gut is not functioning properly. So there can be stress, and stress is going to reduce the amount of absorption that we can get. It may even lower the amount of hydrochloric acid that we produce. If you don't have a gallbladder, that's going to be something that's going to be deficient, so to speak, because the gallbladder is not there to make the hydrochloric acid in the amounts and the potency that we need to break down our nutrients. And so what happens is when we have this insufficiency or problem within the gut, let me go back to the other slide. Inside each one of these segments, there's the lining of the gut, and the lining of the gut, it should be very tight segments. And what happens is when they get like weak or leaky, then proteins and particles, undigested food, all kinds of things can slip into the bloodstream, and it does not belong in the bloodstream at all. And so when that happens, we end up with a whole bunch of problems that can affect our thyroid. Then our thyroid levels dip down. We end up with subclinical thyroid disorder. Maybe it doesn't show up on labs, but we know that our hair's falling out, we're brain fogged, our heart's racing, or we're cold all the time, or we end up with these symptoms. And this is how a lot of people end up with Hashimoto's. We start seeing things like food sensitivities. That gut becomes very leaky. We start getting very susceptible to yeast and fungus. And then we end up with this whole dysbiosis. So that is a problem where we don't have enough of the good gut flora, and it causes a whole bunch of other problems. A lot of these things, we end up with things like musculoskeletal disorders, arthritis, joint pain, soft tissue injury. It's easier for us to succumb to an injury. And then we open ourselves up for things like obesity, diabetes, blood sugar problems, and that kind of stuff. The brain senses that there's something wrong. And so we can eat and eat and eat, but yet not feel satisfied. Anybody have that happening? And then also too, we start this road of inflammatory neurodegenerative process. And that's kind of what we're going to talk about today, is how to balance those neurological functions within the brain. And so we're going to talk a little bit today. Kim's going to take over and talk about these storage lockers.
Yeah. So through my journey of helping people with, their physical stuff, it became really obvious that it started with their history, and things that you can talk about, you can track back to parts of your body, like sensations. So just like to tie in with what Dena is talking about. So when people are not feeling well, and like when you're a little kid, okay? So little kids, they get nervous. What happens? A lot of times they go home sick with a stomach ache, right? That all of a sudden they've got all these stomach aches. That's like when a therapist talks with a kid and they've got stomach aches, they know they've got anxiety issues. They know they've got something that's upsetting them. So those would be like little triggers, little things that happen, and then they start seeding themselves into the parts of your body, and it leads through adulthood, some very similar things. It could even like traumatic responses sometimes. Like I've touched people, and like my mom, she's got this spot on her chest that makes her like feel like really vulnerable. And when she's on a massage table, I'll have her bring her feet up flat so her knees are bent. And then it's like she gets that control, kind of like a wild animal, like they don't want to expose their belly, because that's where the other bigger animal is going to eat them. Like, so there's parts of the body, which you might have noticed when certain people don't like to be touched in certain spots. Feelings of unease, flashback stuff, that can all come like that whole like body emotional experience. Me personally, when I do this doesn't happen to me anymore, but when I would be around a lot of people or do some public speaking, my stomach would just bloat like 6-month pregnancy. And it wouldn't like, so I wouldn't be able to eat after public speaking, or if I was around a lot of people, until like I let that stress go. Dena, you and I were talking earlier, and she says that her stress can feel like a pit in the stomach, you know, or you might even feel like tightness in your throat or shallow breathing. These are signs, you know, that your nervous system is in fight or flight. And when you're in fight or flight, this is why they say don't like freaking scroll through the news, you know, about Turkey and all the earthquakes while you're eating. Because it's going to throw you into fight or flight. All of your blood in your body is going to get pumped to your arms and your legs because it's thinking you got to run, right? So all of the blood that's supposed to be going to your organs and your digestive process when you're eating is now somewhere else. Like it's going to slow everything down, right? So we don't want that. So we got to do like calming things and like even say that's why we say a prayer when we eat, like to try to like get ourselves to get grounded so we can be in that rest and digest, right? So some of these symptoms, when they're short term and then they're ignored, they turn into long-term things. So now we don't even remember where the problem came from. And that's when you'll see that bottom row, the prolonged sadness, apathy, purposeless, overwhelm, feeling lost. So if you are feeling some of those things, but you might be able to trace them back to some of those upper levels, then like, you know, we know what happened. You can move on. So I guess
Yeah, so I wanted to just explain this really quick. So a lot of times we get stuck in this, we call it the bed. And so my coach, she said, you know, if you want to be successful in anything that you do, whether it's in your business, your work, your relationships, finance, whatever, even your health, you will need to get out of the bed. And so what she meant by that was the space where we find ourselves in the blame. We want to give excuses or use excuses to not think or to continue doing something that's no longer serving us, or we get stuck in this denial. But I challenge you to take ownership in some of the things that we're going to talk about today, because that's really where there's space for you to grow and learn and really move forward. Number one, you would have to take ownership of what's happening, the situation, you know, whatever it is that maybe is having you stuck or feel overwhelmed. And then also accountability and responsibility. So when you look at a situation differently as taking ownership, accountability, and responsibility, that's where the growth happens. And that's where you can really start to feel relief and better. Because if you think about it, I mean, even the acronym fits, you know, you're in the bed, and what happens when you're in the bed? You're like lazy, you're tired, you're unproductive, right? I mean, anybody been there?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we've all been there, you know? So, yeah, so I just kind of like a little visual for you.
Okay. So we're just going to talk a little bit about anxiousness and how that could come back into your digestion and how that feels in your body. So for me, it shows up as bloating, the anxiousness. And I feel it in my throat, and I would feel it in my solar plexus. So something that a lot of people don't realize is there's a difference between anxiousness and shock. No, not shock. What's the word I'm looking for? Hold on, I gotta look at this paper. Panic. Panic is very different than anxiousness. So there's what I want to show you, that there aren't any negative emotions. And so when we look at it like that, a word like anxiety, it's actually like it helps you. It's a good thing. So for example, I was on the freeway. Do you remember a couple of weeks ago or maybe a month ago when it was like, well, I'm in California. I can't explain it. So when you're on the freeway and it's pouring down rain, and you're surrounded by people that don't know how to drive, And now it's gotten foggy. So it's pouring and it's foggy. So the fact that I'm feeling anxiety is actually a good thing because it's giving me focus. It's making it so that I won't die. Right? I'm going to stay in the present right here, right now. And I'm definitely not going to die. Okay. So this anxious feeling I have is my body keeping me safe. Okay. That is not panic. Panic is very different. So the feeling of anxiety is this is what brought this feeling forward, what really needs to be done. Am I self-protecting from an unfavorable outcome? What was the other question? But it's all about, it's your procrastination support system. So we want to use adaptive. That's a blend that's specifically made for getting your body back into that rest and digest. But you don't want to use this to avoid the things you still need to do. Like it's just to help your body get calm so that you can get that task done, right? And then basil, oh my gosh, all the things I've been reading about. So like how Dena uses it, you put a drop on the top of your head, or you can take it in your hands and breathe it in. I love using basil all over my whole body because it's also for pain relief. So if you're using adaptive and basil together, it's just going to help you get calm so you can refocus your brain and you can start getting your little tasks done that's causing the anxious feelings to begin with. Okay, fear. Same thing. It's very similar to anxiousness, with it being for intuition and focus. Intuition, action, clarity, focus, readiness. Recently, I was at a friend's house and everyone was going to get their IV bag done. And I was like, I have kind of like a white coat syndrome thing where I'm afraid of doctors and hospitals. So like needles were coming out. And my body was like, but I still wanted to be cool and do it like everyone else. So I sat like I was going to do it. And then my body was like, and I got up and then I'm like, I don't want to like avoid what I'm actually feeling. So I'm like, what is it that I'm feeling right now? And I went and looked it up. It was fear, but it was intuition. It was my body saying, no, we don't need to do that. It wasn't like some bad thing happening. It's just me learning how to interpret my body and what it wants to do. Does that make sense? So I just really want to help people understand that because it's such a revelation to me for somebody who's like, everyone around me has treated me like I'm like a little paper doll if I have anxiety. Like, no, she's going to break. No, I'm a strong woman and I have intuition. So anyway, what's the root of my fear? What will it take me to process this fear? And then you're going to use the oils for that. So yarrow, oh my gosh, have you guys seen how much that grows? Like even, so Cindy's in Colorado. Where is everyone else from? We've got yarrow growing everywhere where I live. And to me, that's God, because yarrow is for protection. And I know that it grows everywhere in all over the country because it makes me, when I see it growing, I'm like, look how much God loves me. He's protecting me right now. It's growing all over the freeway where I'm driving. So you're going to take that yarrow, you can breathe it in. Same thing with lavender. Lavender in particular. So if we're talking about panic, put 4 drops of lavender in a glass of water and drink it. And that's going to help your nervous system because that means that you've hit upon a trigger that's a storage locker. So in order for you to process that panic, you need to get your nervous system back down. So you use the lavender to get your chemistry to chill out. And then you can start to think about like where that came from and write it down. We can move on. Envy. Is it possible that I can be successful while another is successful? Do I feel loved and accepted? I'm now filled with charity and choose to see the best in others. So you'd ask yourself those questions and say that statement out loud as you use those oils in your hands together. And that specific combination, it's just like, because somebody wrote a book, it's called The Essential Emotions, where they were asking the oils like what they wanted this generation to learn. And so that's how they figure this stuff out. So these oils in particular, they help with that emotion and that feeling so that you can go, oh yeah, they can be cool and I can be cool too. Right? Guilt and shame. I love talking about guilt and shame because, well, they've got such a bad rep. So shame is actually your Jiminy Cricket. You need the Jiminy Cricket. It helps you restore integrity within your own behavior, self-respect, and behavioral changes. So, it just helps you figure out what needs to be made right. So if you're feeling like intense shame just as like flashback memories, not like having anything to do with like something you need to make amends for in this like today, that means that you have not accepted the past. And you have to talk to yourself. Like, so I do a whole meditation on this. So like I'm in a 12-step program. So it's the 10th step. So in the 10th step, that's where we're talking to God and we're like, okay, so like how was my day? Is there people I need to say sorry to? I'm taking inventory of my day. I invite God in with me to watch the replay of my day. And I go back to that younger version of myself, even though if it was 2 hours before. So I'm like, now I'm future me. I'm going to go talk to past me. I've got God with me. And we're like, so what happened here? Like, okay, we're sorry. We figure it out. So that I don't have to like have weird flashbacks of shame that don't serve me in this present moment. So I just want people to know that guilt and shame, it's so that we're not, if you don't have guilt and shame, then you're a sociopath. You need these things. That's how you know you're normal, right? So copaiba is for healing the mother wound and frankincense for the father wound. And they're both very spiritual, really great for connecting with your higher power. Hatred. So whenever there's issues going on in my house, I will put cardamom in the diffuser so that it's like, you're not mad anymore. Anyway, so cardamom for intense awareness and shadow work. You want to put it on if you're going to use it topically, use it on your heart because it helps to like soften around your heart so that you can give some forgiveness and more awareness around what was happening. Or if it's the other person that's experiencing the extreme emotion, then you gas them. You put them in all diffusers around the house. And they're like, I'm starting to feel a change of heart. That's very interesting because we're changing your chemistry right now. Purify. It clears and assists in cleansing negative toxins or emotions. It's just really good for clearing the house. And Dena and I were playing with this earlier with the Purify and cardamom together. Super good. Oh yeah. I like smelling them. So anyway, these are the questions you'd ask. It's helping you to combat enmeshment. Enmeshment is like where you're taking on other people's stuff and you're feeling their stuff. Feelings of hate, rage, severing other negative attachments. So if you've got people in your life that they don't fit your life anymore, like they are part of your old life and now they make you feel like crap, like maybe it's time to break up. So how was I hurt? How does holding onto this hurt continue to harm me? And then we can move on. Anger. So this is another one that's got a terrible rep, but anger, there would be no human rights movement without anger. There would be no, I had a dream without anger. Nothing would get done without anger. You need it. So it's for honor, healthy detachment, healthy self-esteem, proper boundaries, protection of self and others. Anger is what teaches you what you value most. So if you're pissed off, the house isn't clean, other people didn't help you, it's because guess what? You value cleanliness and you need to tell somebody that. You need to make that information clear. Listen, one of my highest values is cleanliness. So if you want to show me that you care, then you're, so it's learning how to communicate your highest values. So like some of my highest values are integrity and loyalty. So anyway, I have many things that piss me off about that. But it's really important that you don't make yourself feel bad about being angry, especially as you're learning how to have self-esteem. Because there's a reason why you're pissed off. You just have to figure out what you value and why. So neroli and forgive. So when I say anger, it doesn't have to be like, oh, like this full blown out thing. Like there's soft anger, medium, and hard. Hard would be like the blowout murder someone. And then the medium is just like having an argument. Soft is where like I feel a little peeved, Anyway. Apathy. So apathy is where you just like, nah, I don't know. But really it's the mask for anger. It's like you're burbling underneath. You're not really sure, So it's just that you're trying to figure it out. You need to learn detachment, or it's where your body needs detachment, boundary setting, separation, taking a time out. What do I value? Just like what we were just talking about. What must be protected and restored? Connect first with your values and ground yourself. And then the reason, Dena, why were we using lime? You had a good explanation.
I think because it's great for cleansing and boundary setting.
Yes. And vetiver, that's another really good one.
The vetiver we use because it creates new neural pathways. It allows your brain to rewire and make new connections and new patterns. And so that was one of the reasons that we chose the vetiver to go with the lime.
Yeah. Okay.
They're so good together too.
Oh yeah. They are. Okay. So I just love smelling oils. Wish we were all together and we could just be like, smell it. Isn't it good? And you're like, yeah. And I'm like, so let's see. Yeah, I mean, so this is just helping you figure out what you need to do next. So these action steps that help you move through apathy and not avoid it, or make yourself feel bad for being in that position. Like, why am I feeling this way? There doesn't need to be shame around feeling that, because remember, there's no negative emotions. They all do something. Okay, we can move on.
So here I wanted to kind of show the difference in the B vitamins and how the B vitamins play a key role in your mood and overall health. I am in functional medicine and I travel all over. I get to talk to all kinds of doctors, other doctors that are doing functional medicine, chiropractors that have been chiropractors for 30 plus years. And the interesting thing is when I ask them, what have you found to be the biggest help for those that have brain that are like on the spectrum, issues with ADD, ADHD, and mood disorder? I'll say B complex, which I find very interesting. And so you can see how mood is affected by our B vitamins. And so we talked a little bit in the beginning about the gut health, right? But when you look at what do the B vitamins do in the body, they convert most of our food to energy. They supply the nervous system with nutrients that it needs to function correctly. Carbs, proteins, eye health, skin health, mood, all kinds of different kinds of brain function key components. Okay. And so making sure that you have enough B vitamins on board is going to be key to overall mood as well, chemically. All right. And so another one of the things that we want to really stress is having the lifelong vitality on board, because that's going to be the base of getting good gut nutrition on board in a very bioavailable way that your body can absorb very easily. I've put people on this and they have had transformational changes in their overall mood health. And I think we were going to talk about that, me and Kim. So you had a story of somebody who had a huge transformation, right?
Well, me first. So like my friend that she was showing me all the doTERRA stuff. And when I was a teenager, I was on all kinds of psych meds because I was in and out of rehabs for bulimia and alcohol and lots of issues that I went. That was four different rehabs. So I was like on really good insurance. My parents had Blue Cross, so I was on like I don't know 8 or 9 seriously of all these psych meds, and of course it depleted my body of important nutrients like I'm sure B vitamins because that's what they do. If your body doesn't it Okay, so when the lab people, the scientists create these pills, what they're doing is they're looking at, say, like Roman chamomile. They go, Roman chamomile is very soothing for the nervous system. But so we'll just take this little piece of that DNA of that plant, and then we will patent a pill. So now it's an incomplete plant medicine that they've patented into this little pill. So when you put that in your body, it's incomplete. And then it goes, how can I what it used to be? So that's how come like when people are on all different certain medications, now all of a sudden they have all these deficiencies, right? Because it's the original thing that was, do you agree with that, Dena?
Yeah, I think Dr. Hill was explaining like the difference between something that's synthetic and then something that's natural. And so he used his two hands to explain it. And he was like, now I have two hands, they look exactly the same, right? They're a mirrored image. If I cut off my right hand and attach it to my left hand, it looks exactly the same, right? And we're like, yeah. And then he goes, is it going to function exactly the same? No, it doesn't bend the same way, right? It's not gonna, like, you would have to turn it around. It's not gonna work. So that's kind of how synthetics are in your body as well. So when we take something that's plant-based and it's made out of carbon and all the things that we are, water, oxygen, all the molecules that we are made up of, our body is very attracted to it because it's like us. But when it's synthetic, your body will kind of look at it and go, well, like, what am I supposed to do with that? Okay, let's send that to the liver. Let's go ahead and break that down. Is there anything we can use in it? No. Okay, maybe that tiny little component. All right, we'll go ahead and store the rest of that for later. I don't know really what to do with it. And so then you have this buildup of different chemicals and components that your body doesn't recognize. And so they do not work the same. And there's even an article where they talked about the difference between like brand and generic, and it further even breaks down into less forms of utilization. So if you can get stuff in your body that your body recognizes, it's amazing what your body will actually do with it to help promote general overall vitality and well-being, repair your DNA, help protect your DNA, improve metabolism, help with your bone health, support your immune function, and promote cardiovascular health. And we hear all this stuff right now about how cardiovascular health is under attack, right? If you watch any kind of news or anything or read any kind of articles, one of the scariest things that's happening are, young people having heart disease, blood clots, and all kinds of myocarditis and that kind of stuff. So whatever we can do to help our body get the key nutrients that it needs to correct that would be great. And then, of course, the lifelong vitality helps provide the key nutrients needed for our overall mood balance, which is fabulous. I've had people who were having suicidal ideation get on this, and it helps them feel better. It takes that edge off at first. And as you take it, the longer you take it, the more soothed the body becomes, and all those imbalances that we see chemically, they start to rebalance the body, which is just phenomenal. I can't even count on one hand, multiple people who have said, oh my goodness, like I had no idea that my mood was that low because I was so imbalanced, and we see it a lot with massage therapists because they're so depleted of nutrients from just the work that they do and people constantly taking the nutrients from them that they need. So it's just such a great way to help balance the body.
That's kind of how I experienced it. So like I was so depleted and I didn't realize how bad I was feeling. Like I was like, I'm fine, I'm fine. And then, I get on it and I'm like, wow, this makes a big difference. And I was really against pills because I was just gotten off, having all these stupid pills I was taking. So I was like, okay, I'll do it. Because my friend said it really helped with the prolonged sadness she had been dealing with. And boy, did it help me.
Absolutely. And then one of the things that I also wanted to really stress is how collagen helps the gastrointestinal tract. So our collagen that doTERRA uses has 9 types of marine collagen in it. It also has about 28 other very supportive and helpful ingredients that soothe the digestive tract. But mainly I wanted to just pin on the collagen protein that's in there. The collagen protects and soothes the lining of the digestive tract. So when I go back to that first couple of slides, we talked about how when that gut becomes leaky, it causes so many problems, right? But if you can soothe the gut and keep it from being leaky, then a lot of those problems go away. So the collagen that we have here also aids in soothing that leaky gut. It soothes irritable bowel symptoms and helps to reduce acid reflux. It's also been shown that patients with irritable bowel disease produce less collagen in their digestive system. So that's why they end up with so many problems that they have anyway. It strengthens and normalizes the mucous membranes in the GI lining. I think, Kim, you were one of the first people that ever talked about those microvilli that are in the gut and how when they get all like gunked up and mucousy, then we start to see a lot of food sensitivities and our gastric motility is affected and it doesn't work the same. And so then we start getting we eat nuts and all of a sudden we're like, I got that scratchy nut feel on my throat, or you eat avocado or cantaloupe and it's like, well, I've never been allergic to that before. Why I am all of a sudden is that happening to me? That's why that microvilli get all gunked up with the mucus. And then also the collagen also helps to close those tiny junctures and stop that undigested food from slipping into the bloodstream. And that helps to reduce that autoimmune factor and food sensitivity. So, I mean, this is one of the things that doTERRA has put out, as well as the lifelong vitality that I'm like, I'm taking that forever because I am so amazed with how well this works. My range of motion is better. I feel like my vision's better. I think more clear. I get far more done. I am way more productive than I used to be. My nails and my hair grow really fast. It's just phenomenal. The amazing things that I've seen. And I've also noticed that I do have a wheat allergy. I can eat sourdough bread and it doesn't do anything to me, which is like, yes, that is so cool. Cause it's closing up all those junctions in my gut, which is phenomenal. Did you want to share anything about the collagen?
Well, I mean, I've noticed that I'm way less stressed out because for one, I'm sleeping like a 10-year-old child that blacks out at night. Like you wake up and you're like, it's a brand new day. So I'm sleeping better. So my stress hormones are more chill, but I didn't know about it helping with the GI and the autoimmune stuff, because that's really important. So, but the main thing the collagen has done for me is made my skin look good, sleep better, and it's sorted out my neck business that I had for years. So now I'm able to work out.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yay. And then one last combination that I wanted to share, because I love the combination of black pepper and ginger together, gastric motility. Now, the emotions that it helps are powerlessness and defeat. So think of I am open to letting go of past or old hurts. And think about what situation am I in, or situations am I trying to control to feel safe? Am I open to creating a balance between discipline and unconditional love? Black pepper helps to reveal the mask and the facades that are used to hide aspects of ourselves. And as a child, we may have been taught that some of these feelings are good, and then some of them we want to hide, or we were taught to hide. And so black pepper helps with that unmasking, really getting real, digging deep for motives, feelings that may have been kind of repressed or buried, and really getting that authentic you, feeling that emotional honesty, courageous, motivated, self-aware, and integrity. And then ginger really promotes empowerment, commitment, capability, purposeful, and accountability. And it teaches us to be successful in life. One must be wholly committed to it. Now, I personally like to use 1 drop of each in a capsule. I like it to get down into the gut so that it does stimulate that gastric motility. When we talked about like those microvilli kind of getting all gunked up, when that starts to get mucusy and gunked up and things aren't moving through the gut like they should be, we start having a lot of those problems with the leaky gut, the food sensitivities, the itchiness. We start getting skin stuff. We feel like maybe our skin's crawling and that kind of thing, which in turn makes us feel anxious, right? And so when you add that black pepper and ginger together, the ginger aids in digestion and moving things down, and the black pepper stimulates that mobility. You're just helping to get that gut things move down, and then lowering that stress level, which is wonderful to do.
So this is all about the goodies that people get if they don't have an account. So because I'm doing something called Diamond Club with doTERRA, it's the last one they're ever going to do. So it means that people get the regular February promo, which is the Digestin soft gels and the Digestin 15 ml, but they also get a diffuser, the Pebble diffuser, and they get a 15 ml of Adaptive. So it goes really perfect with our class because it's everything to do with getting your digestion in check and then using the oils for calming your nervous system, getting into rest and digest. So I love using that Adaptive at night in my diffuser. So, and also when people get started and then they set up, like, because if you're going to use the Lifelong Vitality Pack and the MetaPower, you might as well set up your account, because you need to make sure like the next month you got your order coming. They give you 125 points, which is doTERRA dollars for free, for just whatever next. So you can get your black pepper and your ginger and your lime. You can do the lime and the coconut.
So awesome. They're so generous.
Works for,
such an amazing company.
but you have to get the promo code from me. So, but it works for everybody. They just have to, anyone who's getting a new account. Yeah. So what are we doing next Wednesday? Let me look at the schedule here. It is. Okay, so this is all about the limiting beliefs, smashing limiting beliefs, and how it ties to your emotional recovery. So that's something that I've really been working on. So I'm excited to share that one with you guys. So we've all got stuff that stops us from doing the next thing, you know, and then whenever we do get to that next level, like, do you ever catch yourself like being defaulted back to like what was normal? And you're like, man, you know, so I want to help people get past that so that they just, so we can be like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Maybe you remember the original one, and like the grandpa and the little boy are in the glass elevator, and then they go, when they're gonna pop through the ceiling, and then they're flying all over London. That'll be us. So thanks everybody. You have any questions?
Hi. So that promo code is just for new people?
You can use it. You can use it for new people, Stacy.
Yeah. I think they have something they're giving away for 200 PB also, weren't they?
Yeah, it's Digestin, the soft gels, and the 15 mil. So everybody gets
Oh,
that when they place a 200 PV order this.
okay.
Yeah. My dad likes to use the soft gels because he's like a man's man. So he's like, I don't want to smell like oil. So
Oh.
like, take this pill because you're an old man and you're used to taking pills.
Yeah.
Pill?
I was gonna ask you about the enzymes. Which product is the best probiotics that we need for our brain, not just our gut health, but the one for our brain when we feel like I've had a problem with sugar, but I'm really taking ownership of that. I have realized it's crystallizing my brain, which is why I forget a lot. When I realized that they connected, I was like, okay, so now I realize I need more brain probiotics, not just gut. Do you guys know about
They
that?
go together. So there's a complex that doTERRA makes. It's called PB Assist.
TB assist. Okay.
So when you order your MetaPower, it lets you pick 3 products for cheaper. So just add
Okay.
that. So that way it's cheaper.
Okay.
And then
PB
they have their enzymes are called Terrazyme.
parasite.
So I used to order, what was it, like standard process? I used like high end enzymes. And then I started using doTERRA's. I'm like, this worked really good. And I'm not paying 3 times as much. So I was a colon therapist. So I know like good enzymes.
Yeah.
So anyway, I really like their Terrazyme. I used to take them at night. Now I take them after dinner, my enzymes, because you can't take enzymes with your MetaPower.
Right.
There was a reason why, because MetaPower breaks down carbohydrates and Terrazyme works. Why can't you take them together? There was a reason, Dena.
They kind of compete with each other. I think that's what Laura Jacobs was talking about.
Yeah. So I take,
So you have to take it about an hour and a half to 2 hours apart from each other.
thank you. I appreciate that, Diane. Yeah. So I take the enzymes after dinner and then I take the MetaPower before I go to sleep.
I'll find-
That makes it so that you take the MetaPower before you go to sleep, because if you notice that if you wake up feeling like I don't feel like I slept, it means your blood sugar went like this all night. So I noticed that as I take it at night, I wake up and I'm like, oh, I'm fine. So I must have been on the sugar roller coaster.
Mhm.
So are you talking about the Advantage at night or the Assist at night?
Advantage.
Really?
Which
Mhm.
one is that?
No.
MetaPower?
The
The
Advantage.
collagen.
Yeah, I
Oh.
take the collagen like an hour before I go to sleep, and I take the smaller bottle pill, the Assist,
Assist.
at night too.
Really? It's supposed to be with your largest meal. So you take it at night.
I take it at night.
Interesting.
Yeah. So that's how I do it. I won't remember to take pills in the middle of the day.
Yeah, me either.
I do it in the morning or night.
Interesting. Okay. Question for Dena about the ginger and black pepper. Is that supposed to be diffused or taken in the capsule?
Good question.
I personally like it in the capsule, like it to get into the gut. 1 drop of each in a capsule, you can do it up to 3 times a day.
And
Interesting.
I would recommend that for somebody that's dealing with food allergies, right? Because it's helping with breaking down.
Yeah, and yep, correct. And it works really good for people with blood sugar imbalance as well, I've noticed. If they so my husband's diabetic, and there's times where like his A1C will spike a little bit, and I'll put him on that for 2 weeks straight, 3 times a day for the 2 weeks, and the next time he goes back for his appointment, everything's back to he usually keeps his blood sugar really in check, like he's really good about it. But every once in a while it'll spike and his absorption will be off. We'll know that it's off. And so that's how we fix it.
How would you know it's off? Like, do the farts stink more?
No. His lab. We go by his labs.
Okay. I'm like, but how'd you know?
Those always are bad.
Yeah. Okay. That's funny. I was just wondering,
Yeah.
you were like, something's not right.
Yeah.
So I just started my Vitality. What is it? I said 2 weeks ago.
Mhm.
And I can tell the difference. I can tell. I was taking other vitamins before I was really big. I'm always a big advocate, but of course, I want to try doTERRA. It's really more expensive than, of course, what I was buying, but I also noticed the value. There is a difference. I've always known more about higher grade. And I'm telling you, I'm 56 years old and I was wanting to take a nap every day. And so finally, thanks to you convincing me to get on MetaPower, that helped. But the vitamins have taken me to a different level. Thank God.
Good. I'm so happy.
I feel the depression has lifted some. When you're just tired and slumpy, you're depressed. And I struggled to go to the gym. So I have a wacky schedule. I don't have a normal schedule. I have to miss class a lot, but I got to get up earlier. So I'm working towards getting up earlier before everything else has to happen and get to the gym, because there's no way it's going to happen if I don't. So I'm doing I need to get that. I'm going to do the collagen at night now, and I need to get sleep. My blood sugars are waking me up all night. So yeah, good tip. I knew you were doing that, but I like to drink it in the morning too, because I love it. So
yeah.
I'm going to be one walking expensive gal. Hey, what is it? You either spend the money for your body internally, or you go, most people are spending thousands of dollars on facelifts. I mean, my wrinkles are going away. I have noticed.
Good.
So-
Yeah. I mean, like the French, like just go get a facial instead of covering it up with makeup. So
It's a big deal.
Thank you,
Kim-
everybody.
Thank you,
Kim, wait,
Kimmy.
No, I
Before
did.
you leave, Kim, I found a little note that from what I attended. It says that Terrazyme has the enzyme amylase that breaks down complex carbs in competition with the metabolic assist.
Thank you for finding that.
You're welcome.
It's important.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No.
I did want to share one thing. So Diane, when I had mentioned the absorption component, so have you ever had anybody that says that their oils, like, they don't notice a difference, or they're not working?
Right. Uh-huh.
Right. Okay. So I also do that same thing with the black pepper and the ginger for 2 weeks. And then all of a sudden, like, their oils work for them. So it's almost like they have a block to their absorption ability, and those two take that away.
I mean, I don't know if I want to show my mug where my background is.
What's
Okay.
that?
I did alter the background. Okay. So a little different question.
Yeah.
Towards okay, Dena, as a nurse also, are you able to say things on social media or different things about taking internally? Because once upon a time, I had another nurse at a nurse convention I went to said, oh, you shouldn't say anything about internally because you can lose your license. You've got to be careful. So I always tell everybody, there's different modes to take it. Read the bottle.
Yeah. I've never heard anybody say that. And I just tell people, like, it's your preference. If you don't want to take internally, I'm not going to make you take internally. To me, I find that to be the best way for me. But you may find that, in a diffuser works best for you. It's really, I like to tell people, whatever it is that you believe, you're right, because each of us believes something different. And so if I believe that it's going to be working, better for me internally, then that's usually how they work. That's just my perception. But I have never had anybody tell me that I shouldn't say whatever. Only the powers that be that means something. That's it.
That just put a
So,
halt to so many things, a few years ago.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh, I have to be careful now. I don't want to lose my license.
Yeah.
It's not compliant to talk about using lemon or anything like that internally. You just
Yeah.
say, oh, frankincense is for cancer. Like, you can't say it like that,
Right,
because
right.
they'll be like hunting you down. But so if we were like, oh no, it's for cellular health, because that's code for, you just have to learn how to, like, I'm not allowed to say anxiety. I can say anxious feelings. I can't say clinical depression. I can say prolonged sadness. Like, there's things that are
Just-
FDA approved.
just like with nursing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just like with nursing, we have nursing diagnosis. We're not allowed to say, constipation and diarrhea. We have to say altered bowel pattern. you know,
Yeah.
same
I call
thing.
it I call it a bear plug. Anyway, that's a colonizer therapist joke. Anyway, super gross. You don't want to hear that story. I made Stephanie listen to it earlier. Anyway, well, I appreciate
right.
everybody. Thank you so much for coming. We put so much love and thought into what we share. We really want people to get the best so that they know how to take care of themselves. And you know, like these are really common things. These are not like, oh, like off the wall. This is things that most people are dealing with. So anyway, you guys, so we'll have our thing next week, 7 o'clock Pacific, 9 o'clock Central.
Thank you.
Bye.